We are live! Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Too Sweet Converse. Well, I am Nico.
Wildcard. Steve-O.
EJV.
Very nice. Well, welcome everyone. We're going to start off this week's episode with, unfortunately, some more sad condolences, as recently Hana Kimura has passed away in the world of wrestling at the age of 22, I believe. And yeah, it's a very sad story making the rounds. Fortunately, I really didn't know much of her work, but everyone that I've seen share stories about her. Seems like she's a very honorable wrestler, and I send my condolences to all her friends, family, and fans. And would any of you guys care to share anything about Hana before we get the show started?
Yeah, as far as my knowledge of Hana Kimura and her work, I am very limited on that. I did see a couple of her matches in Ring of Honor when Stardom and ROH had a working agreement between the two companies to bring the talent over. I know she was good in the ring for the first two matches I saw. She's very great, intense. She had a great look. And all the stories I've read online about her, from all of her friends, from Kairi Sane to Hikaru Shida, Asuka, who have all wrestled her in Stardom and every other company in Japan that allows women wrestling, they've had nothing but good things to say about her, her character, the way she is, how friendly she is, and it's sad. It is sad to see a young life like that come to a tragic end. And I send my condolences, prayers to her family, her friends, all of her colleagues who have ever worked with her. It's definitely a sad time right now in the world of wrestling, and stuff like this is going to happen. But when it's somebody this young, it's definitely heartbreaking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll go next. Yeah, to kind of echo what Ezra said, I'm not too familiar with her work. I know she's had wrestled in Japan with Stardom, so she's interacted with a lot of wrestlers that we see on TV now here in the States, like Kairi Sane, like Asuka, like Hikaru Shida, Bria Priestley. So this is just something that hurts all of us as a wrestling family and community, because that's what we are as wrestling fans. Whether we like someone in pro wrestling, whether we don't like someone in particular, at the end of the day, we're all still a family and we're a community. So when something like this happens, especially when someone's so young, at 22 years old, it does affect all of us. I'm not all too familiar with her work, but from what I understand, she got into the business through her grandmother, who I believe either was a wrestler or used to take her to the shows when she was younger. So you can just tell that the wrestling bug got into her at a very young age. My deepest sympathies and condolences to her family, friends, and fans.
Very nice. Wildcard, go ahead with your take.
This has been a really tough past couple of weeks. I mean, first we had the unfortunate passing of Shad Gaspard, and then following that, this happened. And probably the most too, for someone as young as Hana Kimura, I mean, it's I wouldn't say that I'm in the same boat as Ezra and Nico. I'm not too familiar with her work, but I've seen her via social media, and I've heard the name pop up. I loved her look, first off. I mean, I thought she had a great look on her. And from what I've heard about her in-ring ability, that she was on the right track. She was on the right track to, have a good future in the business. But just to see that happen at such a young age, like I said, I mean, it's you have no words for it. I can't respond to how unfortunate it is to lose someone at that young of an age. So, I mean, my condolences do go to her family, and I won't go deep into the details of it, but I think we can all agree that just be nice. Just because we all have our own, just be nice, because we all have our own, we have our own insecurities that we're dealing with, and there's no point in just poking fun at anybody. So basically, just be nice. That's the takeaway message here.
Yeah, very much agreed. And yeah, we here at Too Sweet Cosplay want to send our condolences to Hana Kimura. And we also want to just the listeners and watchers of our material here at Too Sweet Cosplay, just to try to be respectful of one another. Not everyone can be the biggest fan of a certain wrestler or maybe even a cosplayer, but there are ways around of being polite and just as the old saying goes, if you can't say something nice, don't say it. So think before you say things that may be hurtful to others. And we here at Too Sweet Cosplay will do our best to regulate comments that do have negative effects. We want you to be able to share your opinion, but be respectful of it. But please, any of the materials, try to just think before you say, because incidents like this can unfortunately happen.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we do have rights of freedom of speech, but let's not us as people, let's not abuse that right.
Yeah, as Steve-O said, think before you speak.
Yeah, but always make sure that your opinions. Make sure you're always, state your opinions, but try not to bring anyone down, because that's where the problem lies. Be respectful. If you have criticism, keep it constructive. Don't make it destructive.
There is such a thing called tact here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. Yes, very much so. Very much agreed all around. So let's get to something maybe a little more positive here. Let's talk about this past Double or Nothing show. Very good show. I very much enjoyed it. I'm going to share my thoughts in a bit. Some things we're going to be talking about are the Stadium Stampede match. John Moxley versus Brody Lee for the AEW World Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Lance Archer for the TNT Championship. And we're going to also, each of us, discuss our favorite match from the show as well. So, who would like to start this one off?
I'll go.
Okay,
because I was fortunate enough, EJV and myself, we hosted a watch along party on Facebook. So thank you to the listeners who joined us for that. Andy, you were one of them as well. But there were a few others: Don, Sarah, Lawrence. I can write off a few more names. Just losing.
Blitzkrieg Cosplay joined us too.
Yeah, Blitzkrieg Cosplay. Andrew, Tal, he joined us. So it was a great turnout for what it was. I was a little worried because I had a bad rainstorm on Saturday, and my power went out. My internet went out right as I ordered the pay-per-view, so I was a little freaked out about it. But luckily, it turned on right as the first pre-show match was starting, so I got to enjoy Double or Nothing. My thoughts on the show overall, pretty solid. I don't know, are we doing breakdown match by match, or are we just talking about the show overall?
Just do a little brief thoughts on some of the key matches, and then share your own favorite. We won't go show, but just some of our favorites.
Yeah. Breakdown. You get to see the Best Friends be the new number one contenders for the AEW tag titles as they defeated Private Party. The debut of Brian Cage, I think we all predicted that it would probably be him. Really interested to see the relationship between him and Taz, how that's going to work. Thank God Orange Cassidy did not win that ladder match. No, I don't hate Orange Cassidy. I like Orange Cassidy. But he just got to stop with the whole hands in his pockets. Please. I thought Darby Allin broke his leg. I was a little worried about that, but I'm glad he's all right, it looks like. Lance Archer versus Cody. It is what it was what it was. It was what I expected. Cody getting the title. I wish they would have waited until the title was complete. Obviously, I know they kind of hyped everything up, but I think what they should have did was they should have waited. Because now instead of talking about how pretty solid that match was between Cody and Lance Archer, all everyone is talking about is how the title is incomplete. Um, so I kind of wish they would have waited a bit. Um, in regards to the women's match between Harushida and Nyla Rose, cool for the new champ. Uh, Pretty solid physical match. Um, and that's all I got to say about that one. For Moxley and Big Brody Lee, they had a very physical match. A lot of stuff that I kind of felt like they didn't really need to do, but okay. It was what it was. Moxley is still your AEW World Champion. I'm fine with that because I've said this from the beginning. I think the person that needs to be the next AEW World Champion needs to be somebody from AEW and not a former WWE or some other promotion guy. Um, I understand why Jericho was the first AEW World Champion. I understand why Moxley took the belt off of Jericho. But from now on, if you're gonna have somebody take the belt off Moxley, it's got to be somebody that isn't from the WWE. Um, as for the Canadian Stampede match, the main event, it was so bad that it became good. And what I mean by that is you guys know how I felt about it during the while we were doing the watch along. I was screaming like, "What in the hell are they doing?" I'm like, "Oh my goodness, Jim Cornette is gonna have a field day with this one." But then halfway through, I um, I started laughing my ass off and started joining along with it. So it was very entertaining. There was some stuff that I wish they didn't do, but it is what it is. It got its point across. It got everybody talking. Um, and that's I would say that the Canadian Stampede, for as crazy and as a beautiful clusterfuck that it was, I would say that's what it is. It was a beautiful clusterfuck, and if you call that Canadian Stampede match anything else, you're nuts. Um, I would say that I said Canadian Stampede. That's the name of a pay per view. Stadium Stampede. I'm sorry. The Canadian Stampede is the name of a pay per view back from 1997, which immediately made me think of it once they said, "Okay, we're gonna name this match Stampede." I'm like, "Okay, why?" But whatever. The Stadium Stampede was my favorite match from Double or Nothing.
Very nice. Who would like to take this up next?
I'll go next.
All right, Wildcard.
Okay, so first off, I just want to let everyone know that I am wearing a new face mask, which you can purchase at ProWrestlingTees.com. Once they get in stock, that is. This is the Cody mask, as you can probably tell. Very good material. So cheap plug right there. So anyway, I really like the pay per view. I thought it was really solid. For what it was. So I probably won't run down the list of matches too much. I'm gonna actually take this off here. I didn't get a chance to see the buy-in match there. So it was cool to see the best friends. Yeah. I mean, the best friends winning. That was pretty much expected, even though I had predicted Private Party to win. But good for them. Good for the best friends there. The ladder match I thought was pretty cool. I didn't really surprise me. There was going to be some spots in the match that was like, oh my god, especially with Darby with that skateboard spot that he did off the ladder there. That was actually pretty cool. Seeing Brian Cage pair up with Taz seemed like a pretty good combination to me. I thought it was a really good vibe with that. It just made sense because he did have, there were ties with him in AEW, and I think it was just, it took us a little while to kind of have him actually make his debut, but it was a good match overall. MJF, Jungle Boy. Yeah, it's all good. That was actually a good match, surprisingly. We all knew that MJF was going to win. But it was actually a really good showing for both sides too, because I think both MJF and Jungle Boy Jack they both made each other look good in that match. But in the end, MJF got the victory, and solid match. Could be in the talking for possibly one of the matches of the night. So I mean, some people may argue that. The Cody and Lance Archer match, all kind of knew that he was going to win the TNT title. And, I'm not going to talk about the design of it because I feel like that's going to be a subject that we're going to have to talk about at some point. But it was a good match all around. So, again, glad to see Cody become the first TNT champion. That's all I'll say about that. I'm not really going to talk about too much about the Chris Statlander and Penelope Ford match. Another good match there. Same with Dustin and Sean. Another match there to not really talk too much about. Nice to see Hikaru Shida become the new women's champion. I really like that because it was about time that Nyla got the belt off of herself. So that was a really good match. So hopefully Hikaru Shida makes a good run at it. The match between Moxley and Mr. Brody Lee, I liked it. Very physical, very good spots, but it just made sense for Moxley to win or retain the title. So I thought that was a good match too. So the last thing I'll probably talk about in a little bit more detail was the Stampede match. That was I was really entertained by that. We all knew that it was going to be one of those matches where it's so bad that it's good, but it had a lot of great spots. I don't even know where to begin with this. There was a lot of hilarious spots, especially with, a lot of them involving Sammy Guevara. I mean, where do you even start with him? I think the one thing that entertained me, I guess, was when Matt Jackson was suplexing him all the way down the football field, 100 yards into the end zone. That was just like, oh, okay, intriguing. I like it. Yeah. Of course, Hangman chasing Sammy off in this horse there. That was like, okay, we all knew Hangman was going to come out and do some cowboy related shit there, so that was definitely a good definition of that. I think what got me personally was the golf cart. I think seeing Sammy being chased again by Kenny and Matt in the golf cart was what got me. And Nico, Ezra, I'm sure you guys saw my reaction when I saw the golf cart. I'm like, yes, golf cart, yes, let's go. And
you went pretty crazy when you saw that.
Yeah, I was just like, I knew they were gonna do the golf cart there, and it was just hilarious from that standpoint. And then the spot that Sammy took at the end, I was just like, damn, they're really making him to some a big star here. So I mean, kudos to everybody involved in the match. I mean, it provided a lot of good spots, a lot of comedy, but that basically answered my question of what my favorite match was of the evening, was the Stampede match. So, but overall, great show. So that's all I'm gonna say.
All right, EJB, how about you, man?
I thought the event overall was like you said, it was solid. Some great matches, a lot of different styles clashing. Like I said, we had a technical matchup between Jungle Boy and MJF, which MJF won clean, which was something that we as fans didn't really predict on that one. But you had everything. You had the chaos of the ladder match, which I thought was good. Statlander Penelope Ford was a good match for the replacement of Britt Baker being injured and Penelope stepping in. A lot of other great matches. I mainly want to kind of focus here quickly on the and Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose. I thought that was a great physical matchup, and congrats to Shida on getting the title. Well deserved and long overdue. I kind of want to focus on the Stadium Stampede, Brody Lee, Mox, and Cody and Archer. Cody and Archer was a physical match. It made Lance look strong, and I thought that was pretty cool. Lance still got the momentum even after that loss, because he's gonna be destroying people left and right anyways. Everybody dies, as you know. That was a really physical match, and it was predictable Cody was gonna win. I mean, everybody knew that, but congrats to him anyways. Moxley, Brody Lee, very physical, violent contest, pretty much. that spot where they went through the stage was a pretty cool spot. The finish, though, I thought, while it was a good finish for Moxley to choke a big man like him out, I think it should have ended, in my opinion, by a disqualification by the Dark Order interfering and beat Moxley down, because it would make, first of all, it wouldn't make Moxley look weak, and it wouldn't make Brody look weak either. It would be a pretty cool finish. Yeah, it would suck to be a DQ, but it's whatever. It would be great. It would be great for that. And then Stadium Stampede, man, what a great event that was. That was phenomenal. It was a car crash all in itself, from Hangman riding in on the horse chasing Sammy Guevara all the way to the back, to the bar fight with Hangman Kenny and Jake Hager, to just overall just the chaos all over the arena. And then, of course, Kenny with the finish, one-winged angel, 20 feet in the air through that platform, which I thought was amazing. My favorite match of the night, is for me, I have to go Stadium Stampede as well. Just the chaos, everything with even Matt Hardy getting dunked in the water and switching personas, I thought was great. Stadium Stampede.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stadium Stampede, my match of the night.
Very nice. Yeah, I definitely agree with y'all. The Stadium Stampede was certainly something. I liked it. Pure entertainment value. I liked the spot with Hangman Page just drinking in the bar. I liked, the Jacksons just like doing the suplexes into the touchdown. I thought that was incredible. I don't know. There was so much going on. It was so entertaining. I do wish that I could have joined a watch party. Unfortunately, I had to watch it next day. I had some things to attend to that night, but great show overall. I liked Cody versus Lance Archer. I mean, I wish we could get a finalized title for the TNT belt, but it is what it is. It was still a good match. It'll be interesting to see where Cody goes with that title. We'll be talking about that a little more later in the show. But also, I thought it was cool that Cheetah is finally the women's champion. I think that she will carry that title well, and we'll have some good feuds to come. I did like Jon Moxley versus Brody Lee. I did like that Moxley actually won by submission, and the commentators were selling that, saying, "Oh, he can't pin Brody, but he has to do the submission. That was the only way he could finish the match." So it does make Moxley look like a very strong champ, and even Brody still comes out looking pretty strong as well throughout that whole match. So I did like that. As far as my overall favorite match from the night, it's a toss-up for me between the Stadium Stampede and the Casino Battle Royale. I mean, not Battle Royale, the ladder match. I did like the debut of Brian Cage. I thought it had a nice little story with Taz introducing him, and just he and Darby Allin went into it for a little bit, and just overall, yeah, I'm very excited to see him versus Moxley at Fyre Fest whenever that takes place. But overall, great show. You really can't go wrong with it. I think that they had a great, big pay-per-view vibe. I mean, it's been missing from these times, so I'm glad that AEW was able to put on a very solid show. So
great
that's
show.
pretty much all I have to say about that. Great show, no complaints. Now on to another topic. This is it's been kind of a recurring theme that's been going on, and most injuries coming off of the recent Raw taping going on. So, and it's with Kairi Sane again. Unfortunately, there was an incident about a month ago. There's been some recurring incidents. So, what I want to ask to all of you guys is, Nia Jax, an unsafe worker, and what should the WWE do about it, if anything? Who would like to start this topic off?
I'll go. Is she an unsafe worker? I don't know, but her track record isn't the greatest. I mean, you look at what happened with the main big one was Becky, where I don't care what people are saying. Oh, it was a work to get Becky over. No, that was a straight. She reared back and cold cocked Becky. I mean, yeah, it worked out for Becky in the end because the man literally was born. But like, you literally I mean, the man wasn't born, but like the man had her Stone Cold Steve Austin bloody moment um, because of that. But then you look at other things where she worked a match with Charlotte a few years ago and almost dropped her on her head doing a body slam. I want to give Nia the benefit of the doubt because at the end of the day, she's a performer. Um, but Jesus, I mean, just the track record is not looking good. So I mean, I don't know. I'll have to wait and see uh, the raw footage from this coming Monday because apparently they taped this coming Monday show after Monday's show live. So we'll have to see how it looks. Um, from what we're hearing from people like Uncle Dave Meltzer, it wasn't her fault, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I mean, just so far with Nia's track record, she's coming off very hurty. Um, it's unfortunate. I mean, I know injuries happen in life, especially in the pro wrestling world, but just not looking good, in my opinion.
All right. Who would like to take this next? All right, GJ.
All right. As far as Nia being an unsafe worker, it's one of the gray areas of the business because unless you're in it and you know what's going on behind the scenes 100% and not just based off a report on a dirt sheet, you don't know all the details. So for me, I can't say yes or no at this time because I don't know what the 100% facts. Anybody could write a story and put it on the internet. It's like the old adage, it was the age before Blabbermouth where everything became a story, like music. But back to the Nia Jax, her track record has spoken for itself in a sense because of all the injured superstars that she has been in the ring with. Becky Lynch, Kairi Sane, the list keeps going on and on. I think this is the second time that Kairi Sane has been injured in a match with Nia Jax. The first being the Buckle Bomb incident from from a month or so ago, or a couple months ago, which is a totally different topic that we'll save for a future episode. Uh, as far as what I could tell, Nia Jax, to me, I think it's a matter of timing with her. I think it could be a timing issue in her work. Uh, as far as how she works, maybe it's just a little bit of her timing is off with the other competitors, and she needs to go back and kind of fix that. Maybe retrain some of those aspects. But otherwise, is that I don't think she should be fired or nothing like that because she's still a credible talent, credible threat, and I mean she's an attraction. So for me personally, I would just have her work on her timing, and of course maybe go through a safety course or something, maybe in a way to be a little safer in the ring.
All right. And how about you, Wildcard? What's your take on this whole ordeal?
It's for the longest time because I never really was a Nia Jax fan to begin with. So I mean, at first my original answer was yes, she is an unsafe worker. But the more that I think about it, I feel like it's more of a biased answer. But he actually made a good point about the reports that are being circulated through the internet. We only know as much as what's being reported out there. So, I mean, unless we're actually there, in the training facilities or have like some actual insight information on what goes on with the matches, we can only go off of these speculations that are being reported out on the internet, which we all know by now that is not the most accurate information. But Nia's just, to me, I feel like, she's very stiff with her work, especially with her matches with Kairi, especially. I feel like that, in professional wrestling, which we all know, they have to keep each other safe, when working in the ring. So if you don't do that, it's not a wrestling match at all. And, you're putting your worker at work. You're basically just putting yourself in an actual fight situation. But at the end of the day, I feel like Nia may be a little bit too stiff for her work, and she might need to refine some of her skill set. whether it's going back to the performance center, working on her stuff, so that way whoever she works with down the road is safe enough to work with. Because right now I don't want to say that she's a liability, but I mean, just having her in a match right now with somebody else could put the other person at risk. So I mean, that's just my take.
All right, not a problem. Yeah. So, what I'm gonna say with Nia is, yeah, unfortunately the reports don't back her up well. But yeah, I obviously don't wrestle in the industry, so I can't say for sure. I remember there was a tweet a while back from, I believe it was Ember Moon's husband, kind of like calling her out for doing an injury that caused Ember to have to take time off, and then shortly after, he just deleted that tweet. But I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't look good. I too have never been too big a fan of Nia Jax. I kind of liked her storyline going into WrestleMania 34, where it was revealed that Alexa Bliss was using her. It was a very powerful message, and she did a good job selling the story. That's the only time I personally had any involvement with her. But yeah, recent report as early as today, that's reporting Thursday, Dave Meltzer is claiming that WWE personnel just did not said didn't think it was Nia's fault for Kyrie's injury in the ring. What I will say though is, if the wrestlers do feel she's unsafe, I do hope they do go to Vince McMahon or whoever in management just to I just think that they should just go to management if they feel she's unsafe. I think that the WWE management should be looking into, like, okay, is she really putting our workers out for the time being? Should she get some retraining? I mean, the Big Show has gotten, he actually, after being world champion, was sent back to OVW as well as Mark Henry. So essentially, I just think that maybe they should look into maybe retraining her. She's currently the number one contender for the Raw Women's title against Asuka. So I think they should look into it maybe after she and Asuka have a match. But I don't know what to say for sure. I do hope that they do. She does, take a look at her work and just kind of admit maybe I should slow it down a bit, or maybe I shouldn't be as rough. Just something should be done just so she can continue. I don't think she should be fired, but I do think
But maybe some retraining.
Yeah. I think we got a cosplayer to feature, yes?
Oh, yes, we do. And actually, Wildcard and I know her pretty well. Her name is Janell Shipler. She's been at many of the WWE Cosplay Day shoots. She started at the third edition in 2015, along with her husband, Andrew Shipler, who debuted at WWE Cosplay Day 2 in 2014. They've both been going since at Anime Central. So would you like to have the honors of starting off on the second bullet point?
Yeah, absolutely. So Miss Janell started officially cosplaying in 2006. Her first convention was Teco 2006 in Pittsburgh. But I've heard some things about that con. Good things. You want to take the next one?
Sure thing, man. Getting into wrestling, at first she was very skeptical, like some of us can be. When her husband and one of her best buddies started getting back into it in 2012, she couldn't believe, that they were watching wrestling. She found herself paying more attention around Royal Rumble 2013, and she was absolutely bewildered by Kofi Kingston, who we know is known for his Royal Rumble escapes. And she was amazed by all the wild stuff he was pulling off in the ring. That right after that moment, she got tickets to go to Raw about 2 months later, and she's been hooked ever since.
That's awesome right there. Yeah.
Very nice. Some of Janelle's favorite wrestlers include Charlotte Flair, Macho Man Randy Savage, Kofi Kingston, the Dr. Britt Baker, Kenny Omega, Asuka, Joey Janela, and many other favorites. go ahead on the next one.
I'll take the ball from here. So lately, Janelle hasn't worn many cosplays for herself since she started taking commissions, which we will talk about in just a second here. It's been a crazy 2020, as we all know. But some of her past cosplays that she has done includes Terra from Final Fantasy VI. And many versions of Lucy from the anime Fairy Tale. For wrestling, Charlotte Flair may be her signature cosplay, as that was the one she poured the most time into. And honestly, I would have to agree with her because I've seen her in her Charlotte Flair cosplay, and she absolutely killed it. Incredible. I mean, she had the look, everything. I can't. I mean, there's a lot of good things about that cosplay. I mean, she does. I mean, like Steve said, we've known her for a little while, and she does amazing cosplays. But I kind of feel like personally that Charlotte has to be one of my favorites because she just almost looks like a split image of Charlotte Flair. So I mean, the work she did, flawless, right there. So you want to take the next one?
Sure thing, my man. Janelle, she runs an Etsy/Facebook shop called Alter Ego Creative, which the links will be posted in the video package that we will display here shortly. They're temporarily closed for right now in order to catch up on a backlog of cosplays, but she hopes to reopen it in full capacity sooner rather than later. She would love to make more fun wrestling cosplays once she reopens commissions again. And when the time comes, hit her up for a quote. Breaking news, she's a cat person.
Yeah. I also want to just showcase something that she actually created for me from my Kenny Omega cosplay. So as you can see here, this is the work of the very talented Janell Shipler.
Nice.
This is actually a wig that she had helped create for me for my Kenny Omega cosplay. And I gotta tell you, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. I love it. Actually got the cleaner himself to approve of this wig too when he first appeared at C2E2 just a couple of years ago. So I actually had I actually asked him if he can do a shout out video to her, and it was awesome. Love the wig too. So I mean, it was this is just an example of her work that she does. So I mean, if you guys are interested in any kind of wrestling cosplays, I'd hit her up. When she starts opening up her commissions, of course.
Yeah, and let's have a look at some of her cosplays right here.
So that is Janelle right there, ladies and gentlemen. So don't forget to submit your cosplay of the week to us by messaging the Too Sweet Cosplay Facebook page. You might be featured in the next, possibly a future episode. So send us your stuff, and we'll get you going there.
Great, yeah, and we've been receiving quite a bit, so keep them coming. We'll look to have you featured in an upcoming episode. So to close out the show, EJB, Wildcard, and I will be sharing our final thoughts. Nico had to take off for a personal matter, so he's going to share his thoughts at the end. But for right now, we're going to share our thoughts of last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. We're going to talk about things including the debut of FTR, formerly The Revival. We're also going to be discussing who won the number one contendership for the TNT title. We're also going to talk about Mike Tyson's confrontation with Chris Jericho and any of the other events of AEW Dynamite last night. Who would like to start this one off?
I'll go ahead and lead this one off if you don't mind.
No problem.
Last night's show I thought was a really, really good show. Good way to kick off the show after Double or Nothing. The debut of FTR, aka The Revival, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. I thought that was a really nice debut. Didn't expect it. Nice little surprise, which is hard to get in today's world with social media and everything going on in the world. But with the closed set, it really helps. It brings the element of surprise back, which is something we hadn't seen in wrestling in a long, long time. So to see them come out and confront the Young Bucks, which has been the dream match that every wrestling fan who has watched BTE since the very beginning knows about, it's absolutely incredible to see the Bucks and FTR in the same ring at the exact same time. What a moment that was. I have it screen capped and saved to my phone right now. But yeah, that was great. Congratulations to Jungle Boy on becoming the number one contender for the TNT Championship. Gets to face Cody next week. I didn't kind of expect Jungle Boy. I figured maybe MGF would get another shot because he's technically undefeated this year so far as a singles competitor. So I would have expected him to get it, but I'm glad Jungle Boy did. He's been working hard. This is kind of one of the big opportunities that he's long deserved as a singles competitor. And I think he'll do a fantastic job in the match against Cody. Will he win? That's a whole different ball game, and we'll find that out next week on Dynamite on TNT. Britt Baker, Role Model Rules. What an awesome segment that was. Britt has been on fire ever since the pandemic. Really shining as not only as a competitor, but shining as a talker on the mic. Ever since she went heel, she's really shown her that heel personality that she's never shown before. She's worked as a face her entire career, and this is foreign territory. And the Role Model Rules segment I thought was great. Of course, Tony Schiavone being her wingman, I thought is always great to see them two together because it's magic. But that was great. She called out Sheeta, Nyla Rose, and even referee Aubrey Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently nobody's safe. One other thing I want to put in from last night's episode was Jon Moxley watching Brian Cage's match last night as he destroyed Lee Johnson. And Cage looked awesome in that match. Taz with that promo at the end, really solid. You know, Taz is one of the best talkers in the business. And he really hyped up this upcoming match at Fyter Fest between Mox and Cage. And we know that's going to be a hell of a match.
Yes.
And then finally on to Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho. I thought it was really well done. Tyson is a mess, of course. We all know that, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, we all know from that segment that Pro Wrestling Tees does make quality shirts. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, but I thought the segment overall was great. Tyson and them were awesome. Henry, and of course the appearances of Henry Cejudo, Sugar Rashad Evans, and Vitor Belfort, all UFC champions, legends, and Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famer and Cejudo. What a great confrontation that was. You know, Tyson with a little promo afterwards. If you guys haven't seen it on the AEW Facebook pages and all social media, YouTube. Mm-hmm. And of course, Jericho going nuts afterwards in the back, hitting everything with a baseball, hitting everything with Floyd. Thought that was really good. But and now of course that sets up a little match next week, Jericho Colt Cabana, which we'll get to see first time ever. So that would be interesting.
Boom Cabana there, yeah.
Yep, Maxwell Street's own. But overall, I thought the show was great. It was a great way to spend a Wednesday night. I want to plug one more thing before we continue have a discussion. If you guys, I know this is AEW talk, NXT. Watch the Matt Riddle Timothy Thatcher match. You will fucking love it. Trust me. Andy, go.
Yeah, right. I concur with that. I was gonna say, I know we're very AEW focused right now, but I saw clips of that match and I'm just like, holy shit. So anyway, AEW here. Okay. We all kind of saw this coming with the artists formerly known as The Revival, FTR. Yeah, the truth is that what really tipped me off even more was the podcast that they did with Chris Jericho on Talk is Jericho. And usually Jericho doesn't have, like, former or ex-WWE guys on there unless they were AEW bound. So, and plus this was kind of already hinted already with, the Young Bucks and FTR kind of going at it Twitter-wise, social media-wise. So, but seeing those guys make their debut on Dynamite, I mean, that was pretty hype. I mean, everything that's been going on with them right now, how they left WWE and everything. I mean, it was only perfect, and it's only a matter of time until we see FTR and the Young Bucks go at it on either an episode of Dynamite or maybe even another pay-per-view, perhaps. So, great guys on board. Hopefully that there's a lot of good things coming for them in the future. So as for the Battle Royal, I liked it. I liked the outcome of it because I don't think anybody really expect Jungle Boy to win. And I thought that was really cool that they actually gave him the victory because, it just goes to show that, anything in AEW right now is unpredictable. Because, all eyes were basically either on maybe Orange Cassidy winning this match, maybe MJF winning this match. But who would have suspected Jungle Boy to win this thing? But, it's a good pick. It's a great talent. I'm really looking forward to his match with Cody later. I don't think he's going to actually win the TNT title, but I think he's going to put on a good match and a good show overall. I really like what Britt Baker's doing right now with her role model gimmick. I was going to say Nico would be having a field day with this right now, but, I kind of like the route that she's going now, something new, something different. I believe that this was pointed out either by you guys or maybe Nico, but I guess she's been talking to Jericho about her field persona and how to progress that even more. So that kind of makes sense that the direction that she's going in. I'm loving what she's doing. I thought it was kind of funny, the way that she pulled out all the charts and everything. But for the most part, she's got some good things going on for her too. The thing about the last segment with Mike Tyson and the Inner Circle, it's very much a throwback to what DX did with Tyson, back in the Attitude Era. So if you remember that, that's pretty much the same thing as that. So I thought it was pretty chaotic. It was pretty fun to see that. We all know, like he said, Tyson's a head but he can definitely throw a punch, that's for sure. But that's really my thoughts on that. I'm a little bit mixed on that, to be honest with you. But it was a nice way to close out the show. And I guess one more thing I want to point out, though, is, the whole deal with Brian Cage and Jon Moxley. I really do like that Taz and Cage are paired up with each other because it just seemed like the chemistry was there. And definitely looking forward to Cage's match with Moxley at Fyter Fest. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I think, Steve-O, I think your thoughts are next.
Okay. So, yeah, I really liked it. The debut of FTR, aka Fuck the Rest. I think that's cool that the Revival are in AEW. I think that it's going to be a pretty good showing there. Interesting that they actually helped the Young Bucks off of the Butcher and the Blade. I thought that was very cool, very interesting. Going to be interesting to see where it goes. But yeah, it was a nice surprise. It's cool that they debuted on Dynamite rather than the pay-per-view, so you got something to watch for both shows. Yeah, so like Jungle Boy is the number one contender. I'm okay with it. I'm not expecting, and honestly, I don't really want to see him win the title as of yet. I was kind of expecting someone, maybe MJF or a Luchasaurus, just to give them a try. That would have been my pick, but otherwise, I'm not going to complain too much about it. I think that it's going to be I think that Cody and Jungle Boy will have a good match when they eventually have that bout. I think that'll be good. I liked Britt Baker's promo. She probably is one of my favorite wrestlers in the women's division. I like Sheeta, but I think Britt, eventually when she's back in action, I think she's going to really take off, and she'll be a very solid women's champion when it does come time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I really did like Mike Tyson's confrontation with Chris Jericho. Some people were upset and saying it was too much like the old thing with Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels.
I
was happy with it. I'm fine with it. I mean, I think it's great. Mike Tyson's been in the mainstream public, training to get back into the ring. So I think that it's going to be good. So just I'm looking forward to whenever they have their match, be it at Fyter Fest or All Out 2. They obviously haven't announced a date yet for that, but it's going to be interesting. I think it will get some pretty nice mainstream attention for AEW, especially with a big caliber star like Mike Tyson being involved. But yeah, very enjoyable show, and I think that that's really all I have to say. I thought it was a solid show, and I can't wait to see you next week. And from the stuff you guys mentioned with NXT, I'm looking forward to the checking out more of the NXT. I don't usually get to watch it too much, but I do try to keep up as much as I can with video reviews. But the next week's NXT Takeover in Your House, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to pass it over to Nico in this segment just to give his thoughts on AEW Dynamite from last night.
What's up, everybody? Nico here. Sorry I had to get off the podcast earlier. I had a personal matter to attend to. For those of you who don't know, I had a surgery procedure this past Tuesday, and physical therapy was starting today apparently, and nobody told me. So I kind of had to get off abruptly. But I wanted to give my thoughts on the last topic that the crew was discussing, which is we were reviewing AEW Dynamite. The Revival showing up, I thought was great. I originally thought they had to deal with the 90-day non-complete, even though they were not a part of the big release. They had left WWE before their big spring cleaning thing that they did directly after Mania. They are no longer called The Revival. They are just FTR, if you want to call it. Dax Hardwood, Cash Wheeler. I thought their debut was great. It was a surprise. It was a welcome surprise. It was a surprise that, ironically, was on the same date that Scott Hall made his debut in WCW. It was on that anniversary. So I thought that was very cool. I originally expected them to come in as heel. I knew they would come to AEW. I mean, the Young Bucks were teasing it on the Elite. They were setting it in motion years ago, even while they were in WWE. But I fully expected the Revival to come in as heel. They're gonna be great. They're gonna be a great technical old school tag team like the Brainbusters or even the Hart Foundation. If you want to go think of tag teams that were great physical and technical tag teams in wrestling, I think they will be a great welcomed addition to the AEW tag team division, and I'm excited for them. I fully expect us to get FTR versus the Young Bucks. I don't think it'll happen at Fyter Fest, though. I think it happening at Fyter Fest would be way too soon. Yes, it's the match everybody wants, but make us wait a little bit. Now, as for the Battle Royal to determine the new number one contender for the TNT Championship. I'm very happy that Jungle Boy ended up winning the match. He had a very good match against MJF at Double or Nothing. The match between Jungle Boy and MJF at Double or Nothing was probably the best wrestling match. Keyword there, wrestling match on the Double or Nothing card. And it was nice that they gave him the rub of winning the Battle Royal. So he'll go on to face Cody next week, I believe, on Dynamite. They should have a good match. Cody's a good worker that can help Jungle Boy develop his in-ring game. He's only 22 years old. I think he's going to be a big star, not only in AEW, but in wrestling in general. I think him and MJF are the bright future of the AEW roster. Both guys are going to be future world champions, maybe sooner rather than later, but Jungle Boy is definitely going to be a big-time player. He's only 22 years old, so he's going to be a big-time player for sure in the coming years, if not only in AEW, then the entire wrestling industry, in my opinion. So I'm happy for him, and I'm excited to see his match next week, Wednesday, on Dynamite against Cody. Now on to the role model, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, Bay, if you will. If you know me, you know I am a huge Britt Baker fan, / I'm a huge Britt Baker mark, whatever you want to call it. She is firing on all cylinders right now. And as a member of the ADA Cripple People, I would like to proudly welcome Dr. Britt Baker, even though I think she will have a temporary membership with the wheelchair. She is without a doubt a true role model. She's rolling in style. I loved the promo. It was cool, having Reba, or who we all know is Rebel, but having Reba wheel her out into the center of the stage with the pyro going off. I thought it was great. The promo itself, like I said, Britt Baker's killing it right now with the promo game. I was a little worried about what they were going to do now that she was on the shelf. I was hoping that there was a way they could still have her be on TV, since the current injury that she's dealing with should take about 6 to 8 weeks for recovery time. I'm hoping there's creative ways they can keep her on TV to kind of keep her in fresh in the fans' mind on a weekly basis, if not a weekly basis, then bi-weekly at least, because in my personal opinion, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a fan of her work, but she's the best thing going in regards to AEW's women's division as a whole right now. So, yes, more of the role model, please. Now on to the main event segment. My thoughts on that with the Inner Circle pep rally. I knew as soon as they went to that something was going to happen with Mike Tyson. I didn't expect it to be what it was. They kind of tried to recreate something from long ago. I'm totally fine with that. As we all know, everything in the wrestling business gets reused and recycled and redefined. It's been that way since the beginning of the wrestling business. Something similar that the WWE did with Tyson and Jericho. I'm okay with it. I'm interested to see what it leads to. Do I want to see Mike Tyson in a wrestling ring? Maybe. I mean, Mike Tyson's still the baddest man on the planet. I mean, if you've seen his workout videos, the man's in his 50s and he still looks like he can knock you out or end up knocking somebody out with those hands. So, I mean, do I want to see him in a wrestling ring? No, not really. But, I mean, he's working with Chris Jericho. And yeah, while I may not be really liking Chris Jericho right now in AEW, from a character and from a performing standpoint, Chris Jericho can have a 5-star match with a broken piece of wood. So if there's anybody that Mike needs to get into a ring with and have whatever, some sort of a wrestling match with, I mean, Chris Jericho is the right guy to be that guy. I mean, I'm fully thinking maybe something similar to what Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow had back in the day. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what this leads to. I don't think this match can happen at Fyter Fest. I think you got to build to it. So one of your big four, which the next one is All Out in September. But maybe it could happen at Fyter Fest. They should wait a little bit longer for that. Maybe build to it. I love the excuse me. I love the backstage videos that both Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho cut on each other once the cameras were off. If you have not seen them, I recommend you guys go check them out. They're all over AEW's social media platforms and their YouTube channels. Both of them by both men, Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho, respectively, were very good. So I'd like to see where this leads to more before I give my thought on it. What might happen between Iron Mike Tyson and Le Champion Chris Jericho. Alright, you guys. That's my thoughts on AEW Dynamite. Before I send it back over to the guys, I know we didn't cover WWE NXT this week. I know the guys touched on it a little bit. We'll cover it more next week, seeing as how a week from this Sunday will be NXT in your house. But if you're a wrestling fan, I was fortunate enough to be able to watch NXT and AEW Dynamite this week. Watch NXT. You're going to see some great stuff. Thatcher versus Riddle in a cage was awesome. Or, excuse me, they call it the Fight Pit. That was cool. The tag match with Charlotte Flair, Chelsea Green, Io Shirai, and Rhea Ripley was pretty good. The segment between Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Mia Yim, and Keith Lee was definitely glorious. So I recommend watching NXT from this past week as well. And then we will cover NXT as we get ready for NXT TakeOver a week from this Sunday. But I want to thank everybody before I send it back over to my colleagues for sticking with us. This is our 6th episode. We are very humbled. We are very blessed. Please reach out to us on all our social media platforms at 2Sweet Cosplay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you want to talk to me directly, personally, talk wrestling, talk cosplaying, whatever, my Twitter is at True_Nico. Take care, guys. Thanks for your love and your loyalty. God bless. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy during this pandemic. And I'm going to send it back over to the boys. Everyone have a 2Sweet night.
So that's it for this week's episode of 2Sweet Converse. We hope you did enjoy it. Please make sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well.
And don't forget to always follow 2Sweet Cosplay on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at 2Sweet Cosplay. And of course, don't forget to send us your cosplay submissions for our Cosplayer of the Week. We're looking forward to, guys. Please send them in. We'll get you on a future episode of 2Sweet Converse.
Yeah, and any kind of feedback you guys have on our podcast here, please let us know. We're always looking to improve upon it and make it more efficient for you guys. And if there's any topics that you guys want us to talk about, send it our way, and we'll definitely try to accommodate you.
All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. 2Sweet, y'all.
Woo!